Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Top You, a discussion with Anna Dannfeld and myself, top coach Claudia. Today, we are going to talk about COVID as an opportunity. Let's take it away.
Hi, Claudia.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Oh, I love this topic. Yes,
yeah, we are both coaches, and we have seen we have seen people change.
Yes.
Now with COVID. Take it away. Talk about your experience maybe a little bit.
Okay, what I'm seeing, the first layer is this, it's fear, it's anger, people are upset, and this is not good, and that is not good, and there's so much negativity around this COVID thing. And already back in the first lockdown, I remember that I was blown away by the peace that happened. Not all the airplanes, the air got clearer. There were suddenly seals in the inner archipelago in Sweden, and otters and stuff. I haven't been there for 20 years, and I could feel nature healing. That was the first impact for me. I really sensed nature healing, and so fast, and I was astonished by that speed. And then it just continued, and it was still, oh, it's so bad. And I get all of that. We're not going to touch on the negatives because we all know it and we understand it. But I also see so many opportunities. For example, for me, I could leave Luxembourg and come to south of France because everything is anyways going on online. And since that has been so facilitated, it is a very easy restructuring of my way to work. And I didn't want to work one-on-one with clients anymore. So I was in between, and then COVID hit, and now I have a new opportunity. My daughter, who is a high-performing person, she has 4 offices. Three: London, New York, Milan, and Paris. She has 4 offices, and she travels every week to at least 3 of them, right? She got pregnant, woo, and then she had the baby in COVID. And guess what? She can work from home. And if she couldn't work from home, she would have had to make the decision. Do I stay with my baby and give up my job? Because that would have been a must for such a job. Or do I give up the baby and go for the job? So now she doesn't have to make that decision, because she can do both. She can have both. And I think this is the case for a lot of women who before had to make the choice, the decision, my child or my work, because that is, I'm sorry to say, that is such a strong, painful point for women. So that happened. People work from home. People can be together more. And yes, the physical community got smaller, but I can also see this amazing communities that are building on the internet. I see communities where people are connecting and sharing so much love and openness and a carefulness about each other that didn't exist there before. It was I, me, and myself. Now it's us. Us has suddenly become a thing. And nature, our great mama, she keeps healing a little bit all the time. So COVID is there, and there's nothing we can do about it. So I'm not, I don't even, that's a moot point. The point is to see, if we look only at the negatives of it, yes, it's a horrible thing. But, compared to World War II, just saying. So since it's something we cannot change, we have to find the opportunities of it, the best bits of it. And COVID is bringing so much fantastic opportunities and beauty into our world.
Yeah. And you mentioned one very strong one, and that's the whole technology. And the people just had to get used to this a new technology. Either they were impacted in their work, that they had to set up a home office. Many parents had to get used to it because the kids were essentially distance schooled, right? Mm-hmm. And so that is definitely there, because from a technological standpoint, this idea of telecommuting, anti-technology was already there pre-COVID.
Yeah.
But companies in general, as a general push, did not go through that transformation. They did not impose that change. They didn't do the experiments. They could have already pre-COVID say, we are going to telecommute 50% of the time or whatever, because Zoom was good enough, Microsoft 365 was good enough. You know, it would have worked, and yet they didn't. And then all of a sudden they had to. And my husband was telecommuting. He's in IT. And I noticed just by observing him that how he and his colleagues adapted to this. Mm-hmm. From this, I go across the hallway to my peers and we talk about things, to, in the beginning, it was a phone call. And then it was an audio call on Zoom or whatever. And then all of a sudden it was video. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? Why not? It's as easy to do that as, or if not easier than walking across the hallway. Right. And so I think that is one thing. The other thing is commute. Yeah. Just all of a sudden people realized how tiring it is to sit in traffic.
Time consuming.
Each 1 hour each way, let's say, to go to the office. Mm-hmm. It's a waste of life. And I think that was also an opportunity that COVID has given to consider alternative ways of commuting, in especially continuing to telecommute. I would hope that companies that where the whole workforce could be telecommuting now for well over a year or whatever, that they will allow at least a part-time telecommuting to make it, just to offload the commute and things like that from their employees, from nature, from the roads, which you have been here in Luxembourg, you know how congested it gets here. It's absolutely crazy. So that is there. Definitely, I agree with you on that. I think one of the big changes I see as a coach is that people have different ways of dealing with expectation now. Right, because you have built your life on the expectation that the system, the framework of government, food supply, job security, and so on would exist into the future in a fairly unchanged way. So you had certain societal and let's say even business related, professionalism related fixed points and references. And all of a sudden, all that was gone. Yeah. All that was gone. So all of a sudden you realize, like, okay, I cannot trust those things that I have always trusted. And I think that it went beyond just those things, because all of a sudden certain people were like, what can I trust? In general, what can I trust? If stuff can go like that, can I trust my health even? Can I trust the health system? Can I trust that jobs will be available and so on? All of a sudden, all those fixed points that people were relying on moved. Yeah. Thankfully, where we are, it didn't collapse completely, but it moved, it shifted. And, some people realize then that there's certain things that they shouldn't rely on as heavily, but make decisions that are proactive and that will put them at the center of the responsibility. Right. So have you had experiences like that, Anna?
Yeah, I think people overall, there are two things. You have to take more responsibility for yourself, because you sort of this with working from home and all of that. So there's a lot of things go into that. You have to discipline yourself, for example, because there's nobody there to tell you don't have to check in at 9 o'clock. So you need that self-discipline. And I think it's an important thing to learn, self-discipline. You need to take that responsibility that you're going to do what you're supposed to do. But it also opens up this possibility of becoming more, right? I mean, look at all these different places that went online and gave away really expensive courses for free during the COVID. You could actually get an education for free. The universities, you could learn all kinds of things. And I think this also, this accessibility to new knowledge combined with the save time, because say, for example, you work 5 days a week, you have 1 hour commute each way, that's 10 hours a week that you got free now, right? And people say, yeah, when you're home with your kids. I was home with 4 kids. I had so much time because I just organized up that whole thing, you know, so bang, 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 and it worked like that. So I studied and did all kinds of things because I could. I didn't have to go anywhere. So it was really easy for me. Oh, the kids are sleeping. I have 2 hours. I do my studies, right? So I think this is what people found. And there you have the responsibility to go get it, right? And this is what happens. It's not going to fall into your lap. It's not going to come by and here you need, no, you have to start becoming, moving autonomously. Oh, these words, you know? And I think that was a really good thing. And I think it empowers a lot of people who before felt like nothing. I met this one woman. She has basically no education. She's a cleaning lady, whatever, da, da, da. And she works really hard and she has 2 little children. Guess what? Now she's learning English. She's here in France. Now she's learning English. She's finding a way of doing business online. And she is soaring. And she could never in her life have imagined that she would amount to this wow person she is becoming. And she's blown away by herself. She's like, my God, Anna, I can't believe this is me. You know, so I think a lot of that stuff is happening. And people who before maybe didn't have a chance to succeed and fly, now suddenly have a chance that they would not have had before.
Yeah,
and that's beautiful.
Of course there's many that just lay on the couch and didn't do anything. I mean, you know, but that's their decision, that's their choice. But yeah, I mean, having this opportunity to refocus, because the whole spiel too is that I think for many it was this opportunity to really self-reflect and say, what do I really want to do now that the things that I was kind of predestined or like that I had decided on over the course of my life and that had kind of brought me to here, right? All of a sudden it's like not there anymore or not accessible or whatever. And then now I have to do something else. What is it really that I want to do? I want to do. Now, as an adult with my adult thinking and reflecting and analytical skills, if I put all that and I really take a look, what do I want to do? Right? Because it's our passions and our capabilities, it all changes over life, but very often it's a big step to throw everything away and go and pursue our passions. But now, thanks to COVID, we didn't need to throw it away. It was taken from us. And so we
had a chance.
You know, we were able to go a little bit. It's definitely a chance because it's not often given to us, and certain things are just like so unfathomable if we had to do it. Right? Like, let's say, you know, sometimes you go through this mental exercise of how would my life really look like, and how would I live if my house were to burn down?
Yes.
Right? Let's say we go through this mental thing. Well, my furnitures would be completely different. I wouldn't have so much stuff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have
small
this
house.
color. I would not have this color on the walls, right? So, but we would never go and burn out torch our house, obviously. We wouldn't do it. But it just shows that if we had to start anew, we would make different decisions, starting fresh. And I think not to that level, and not in all aspects of life, but there was a certain thing of starting fresh. Starting fresh also just with our beliefs, and starting fresh with our perspectives. It doesn't always need to be materialistic, a material change. Sometimes it's just a mental change, and all of a sudden a different view of seeing things, a different certain realizations. But there was a lot of this fresh, positive, fresh, new start, a kind of feeling with COVID for those that were able and willing to go there.
And I think, to be honest, I think a lot of these things that have been set in place because of COVID, they will continue. Like we talked about workplaces. And so I think for businesses, now they don't, you don't need to pay for all that office space and have all that cost. People are happier. They're working from home. It's functioning really well. People are getting used to it. All of that. They say, brilliant, let's stick to this. Maybe half time or on the whole, and then you pop in for meetings or whatever. I think that will continue because it is so doable and so many people win. It's a win situation. It's been talking about 6-hour weeks or 6-hour working days for forever. Now we're there. And without any discussion about what will it cost and how will we get the work done and how we will do with the offices and the use and all of that is gone.
And are our employees disciplined enough, and are they committed enough to work by themselves, right? But unfortunately, I don't think it's across the board. I mean, my husband, starting next Tuesday, March 1st, he has to go back to the office full time. The whole company is just back at the office, and it's really sad because his group and his team was one that worked perfectly fine from home and across the globe from home, for months and months and months now. So unfortunately, that management did not see kind of a middle way, right? It was either you're in the office or you're not, and not like a kind of more flexible thing. It's really, really sad, but we don't know how this thing is going to evolve, once the unions get involved, maybe, or whatever.
It's still a work in progress, I think. It's not over, it's not done, it's a work in progress.
Yeah. So in any case, I think it's actually going to happen also as people over the next few years start changing jobs. They're going to demand a workplace where they have a flexibility. The new generation that came through COVID and stuff like that, let's say the ones that are going to finish university in a few years, they are going to look for workplaces that have this flexibility because they know it.
And and you get used to the freedom, because another thing I'm thinking about is I've worked, when I first came to Luxembourg, the major part of my work was focused with stress, and I worked with rail communication, the buses and rails and all. I've worked with them, and everybody had tremendous amount of stress and And a lot of this, when you break it down, of course, a lot of these jobs are really high prestige jobs with massive salaries. Well, that's what you're being paid for, being always available, right? So you've made a deal with that. But for others, when you start breaking it down, you realize that the major stress is not coming from the workplace. The major stress for most people is coming from the commuting, picking up the children in time, getting the shopping done, and then when they come home and they just want to lie down and sort of die, There's dinner, bathing the children, doing the homework, and the children are tired. Everybody's tired. Everybody's fighting and crying. And that was the stressors in their lives. And that's not just the 1 hour each way commute. That's the entire morning, the entire evening. That's your entire week, Monday to Friday, except for when you are at work.
Yeah, there was stress and you know this work-life imbalance as well,
and
right?
that's gone with this.
And it's just too much. And people, I think, thanks to COVID, got to experience this. Gee whiz, there's no commute because of the lockdown. Let's just go shopping once a week.
Yeah.
So we organize our shopping lists and things like that, and we experience how it is to only expose ourselves to the virus once a week. Let's do all our shopping together, right? The kids were home more. Both parents might have gotten involved in taking care of the kids instead of it maybe just falling onto one person's shoulders. And just this togetherness, I think, was for certain people really an opportunity, again, just to spend some time together. That's definitely an opportunity. If you look at this now from a coach perspective, what are specific things that your clients have brought to your practice in terms of COVID? And the opportunities, what have you heard?
A lot about this working from home. But what I also hear, to be very honest, what I also hear is sort of hooked on to the positive things is the negative. Because it's usually like that when, you know, oh, it's so good, but, oh, this is great, but, oh, this is, but. And that saddens me a bit, but I think it's the state of things. I think also that there's a lot of fear mongering around the whole COVID thing unnecessarily. But if you get them past the but and the negativity, they see the possibilities and the freedom. And mostly, I think that's what I hear, the freedom that comes in it. The freedom can also be quite scary if you're not used to it. For a lot of these people, they're used to having it this way and the schedule and everything structured in a way for them, and they move within that. Suddenly those walls are gone and they have to figure things out for themselves. And that's not, and they can say, I always wanted that freedom and now I have it. It's sort of scary because I don't know what to do, because now it's up to me. And I talk about, yeah, you know, your courses and stuff, but yeah, then you have to sign, you have to do it, you know? And I think a lot of people lost their autonomy in the old way, and they have a little bit of a problem finding it back now. It doesn't always feel like an opportunity. They see that it's an opportunity, but it's also a bit scary. That's what I'm getting from clients.
Yeah. I mean, definitely the whole VUCA kind of thing, right? That everything is just volatile, complex, that you have no clarity about what's coming down the pike. That, of course, requires a whole slew of very healthy, resilient skills to be built up. And some are more adept at doing it than others, and some are able to ask for help and others aren't. So that definitely is a challenge. Great. So do you have something else to add, Anna? Please go ahead. Otherwise, maybe we're going to round it off for today.
I'm all good.
You're all good? Fantastic. Thank you so much. This was a great exchange, as usual. COVID can be an opportunity when things goes all haywire and you lose your expectations, you lose your frameworks, right? And they shift. See it as an opportunity to go along with it. For everybody who likes this kind of content, please make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have questions or suggestions for future video topics, please visit www.topcoachluxembourg.lu/YouTube and drop us a line and let us know if you want to be on the show. Anna, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see
Thank
you
you.
next time.
See you
Bye-bye,
next time.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.